Coming to you live from our Auckland Park studios, this is Prime News on SABC3. Let's take a look at our leading stories this evening.
I sought an appointment and it was granted at a particular time and I went to brief him.
First up, Police Minister Senzo Mchunu, who is on special leave, has stated that President Cyril Ramaphosa was in agreement with him over the action of disbanding the Political Killings Task Team. In aviation news, Airlink says that there are scheduled disruptions in the Kruger, Mpumalanga, Pietermaritzburg, Richards Bay and Mthatha airports. And heading over to the east of Africa, thousands of mourners attended a state funeral for Kenyan opposition leader Raila Odinga under heavy security in the country's capital in Nairobi. We bring to you a world of information distilled into the essentials. A very good evening to you and welcome to Prime News on SABC3. My name is Becky Mutumomolete, your guide to the news that matters. Today is a new day with new developments and we are here to unpack it all for you. Let's get into our leading stories, which are coming right up. Police Minister Senzo Mchunu, who is on special leave, has stated that Cyril Ramaphosa was in agreement with him over the action of disbanding the Political Killings Task Team. This decision by Mchunu is what sparked the fallout between the factions within the South African Police Service. Mchunu spent his second day before the ad hoc committee being questioned by evidence leader Advocate Norman Arendse.
For 2 days, evidence leader Norman Arendse had been trying to understand why Senzo Mchunu decided to disband the PKTT and who he had consulted about this decision.
Colleagues with you in your cabinet, did you not think it was important to engage with them?
Mchunu responded by saying he had in fact briefed President Ramaphosa about it.
I sought an appointment and it was granted at a particular time and I went to brief him.
So you didn't inform the president before you issued the directive. You only spoke to him after you issued the directive.
I've already said so.
This answer didn't satisfy Arendse and eventually Mchunu's ANC comrade Ola Ngola intervened.
It is important for us to explain to the witness why the evidence leader is emphasizing agreement. Is solely because the main witness had casted doubt whether the president would have agreed for a dissolution of a political killings task team.
A recorded telephonic conversation alleged to be between General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi and Senzo Mchunu's Chief of Staff, Cedric Nkabinde, was also presented to MPs.
He should have written it down herein if you said he should stop this thing if he is clean.
Mchunu added this recording to the evidence he was presenting before the committee, saying it would prove that a threat had been made against him by Mkhwanazi. But due to a technical issue, that specific part of the recording was not heard. Mchunu says the threat made against him was Mkhwanazi's response to his decision to disband the Political Killings Task Team. Arendse raised concerns about how and why this conversation was recorded. Mchunu responded saying that due to the nature of the conversation and Mkhwanazi's reaction, he told Nkabinde to record the conversation. The committee will resume on Tuesday when MPs will be given the opportunity to question Mchunu. Abra Barbia, SABC News, Parliament.
In related news, operations have resumed at the business property of Brown Mokhotsi in Sewideng village in Mahikeng, Northwest. This comes after police raided the complex yesterday. Police say the visit is part of ongoing investigations that have been discussed before the Madlanga Commission and Parliament's ad hoc committee. Mokhotsi has been in the spotlight following revelations by KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi that he has close ties with the Police Minister Senzo Mchunu.
An unexpected raid at Brown Mokhotsi's property, which houses several businesses. The SABC has reliably learned that Mokhotsi is operating 2 businesses from the same complex. They include food and liquor outlets. Police have reportedly confiscated cell phones from Mokhotsi's employees and some documents.
Close the business premises, and they were standing door to door with rifles, so no one was supposed to go in. So what they did actually, they looked for whatever they were looking for inside the office. They knew where to go, and then unconfirmed information is that they seized or they took some gadgets belonging to the staff of Brown Mokhotsi. They took some papers as well.
Mokhotsi says since the raid, he doesn't feel safe anymore.
I'm just worried that they are now bringing this with rifles, and assault rifles, more than 20 police officers in ballet gloves. And my life now, I really do not believe really, I don't know if I should really meet with them. Why would you come from KZN having 20 rifles to look for a man like me, just to take my cell phones, gadgets and stuff like that?
It is understood that the police who have conducted the raid at Mokhotsi's property will remain in the area for a few days. Mokhotsi is expected to testify at the Madanga Commission soon. Thabiso Moss, SABC News, Mahikeng.
In aviation news, local air carrier Airlink says that it is suffering disruptions to its scheduled air services to several destinations. These include traveling from the Kruger, Mpumalanga International Airport, Pietermaritzburg, Richards Bay and Mthatha. The airline has laid blame on South Africa's air traffic navigation services, saying that the validity of these airports' instrument flight procedures, also known as IFPs, had not been timeously maintained. In the meantime, Airlink says that it is doing everything possible to get customers to their intended destinations as quickly as possible, and encourages customers who are booked to fly to or from the said destinations to contact Airlink or their travel agents for the latest flight status. We now move on to the following. Matric candidates have been encouraged to maintain honesty and integrity as they prepare to write their final National Senior Certificate examinations for the 2025 academic year. The Gauteng Education Department held a pledge signing ceremony at Vorentoe High School in Johannesburg on Friday.
The Gauteng Education Department says it's confident that the 2025 provincial matric result will reflect the hard work and collaborative efforts of both teachers and pupils. Last year, the province achieved an 88.4% pass rate. The department is hoping for an even higher pass rate this year and has encouraged the practice of ethical behavior during exams.
No cell phones or watches in the examination room. Not in your pocket or your bag or nowhere. No disruptive behavior that disturbs other candidates. No unauthorized materials or devices. No giving or receiving assistance. No writing on behalf of another candidate.
The department spokesperson, Steve Mabona, says security has been tightened to prevent question paper leakages.
The timing of the paper when it's going to be moving from the warehouse to the distribution points, well timed, and also adhere to the protocols around managing the paper, make sure that when it's in transit, it's well guarded like money. So we have security that is going to be assisting us.
The class of 2025 is expected to sit for their first final examination paper next Tuesday, and the exams will run until 27th November. Puselotso Mokwena, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Welcome back to Prime News on 3. The Gauteng Department of Health may soon be embroiled in a legal battle following the suspension of its head, Lisiba Malutana, earlier this week. Malutana has served legal papers to the Gauteng provincial government, formally challenging his suspension. The health department in the province has denied that Malutana's suspension is related to the 2 billion rand Tembisa hospital fraud scandal.
The SIU indicated that they've just released a preliminary report on Tembisa Hospital and they are still investigating. But they gave me a separate report on the basis of the leadership of the department. And on the basis of that report, I acted. I can confirm that I received papers that gave me 48 hours from the legal firm representing the HOD, urging me to reverse that decision. I'm preparing papers to oppose that request.
In other news, Gauteng police have been urged to use the festive season action plan to reduce road fatalities and crime in the province during the upcoming season. Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi says that the province recorded a decline in the number of fatalities during the festive season last year and that they hope to continue on the same trajectory.
Will not only be limited to combating aggravated robberies by means of applying disruptive operations for car hijacking, truck jackings, business robberies, house robberies. We will optimize intelligence-led operation also for combating cash in transit heist.
When the Minister of Transport tabled her statistics after the festive season, Gauteng was amongst the 3 provinces that reduced casualties with 25%. A commitment that confirms that we need to continue with this particular work so that we can have reductions and not have more deaths in our roads.
Muzi Sibiya, accused number 1 in the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial, has told the High Court in Pretoria that when the news of Meyiwa's killing became public, he was at home in KwaZulu-Natal. Sibiya says he was not in Gauteng between 2013 and 2015, so he could not have participated in the murder of the soccer star in 2014. However, previous evidence of bank transactions state otherwise. There is also evidence before the court that Sibiya was in Gauteng for a driver's license booking on the 22nd of July 2014 and in September.
Even though I cannot remember the exact place as to where I was on the 26th of October during the year 2014, however, I spent most of my time during the year 2017 being at home. When I get just a portion of time or a small period of time, I would therefore come to Gauteng and to do something, then after that I'll return back home.
Communications Minister Soli Malatsi has made an assurance that government is intent on ensuring that genuine reforms take place in the ICT sector. Malatsi held a policy colloquium in Pretoria, bringing together industry leaders, regulators, academia and civil society.
Minister Soli Malatsi has noted the frustration voiced by various stakeholders regarding the gap between potential and delivery. Malatsi has acknowledged the call for government to act with urgency.
The challenge for us in government is we need to act with urgency to fix the rules, to align our institutions and work with the full cooperation of the ICT ecosystem, regardless of when tensions emerge. And those are natural, they will emerge at different instances where there is the need for that.
The minister says fragmented policy is one of the biggest risks to growth in the sector. He also highlighted the need to focus on infrastructure and market trust, which are issues that have slowed South Africa's digital rollout in the past.
Government will never be able to participate in the amount of capital required. Government must create an incentive model to ensure that we build networks of the future, the digital networks that need to be built. As I've said, we need 500 billion, and that 500 billion is going to come from domestic and foreign capital.
Naba also emphasized the need to improve transaction speed and resolve challenges around both foreign and domestic capital. The outcomes of the colloquium are expected to guide government's approach to long-pending reforms in the ICT sector. Nosipo Khatebe, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Thank you for staying with us. We move on to the eastern part of our continent, where the Kenyan President William Ruto has praised the late former Prime Minister Raila Odinga's legacy of inclusion and political tolerance. Odinga has been accorded a state funeral in Nairobi. He died on Wednesday at the age of 80 while receiving medical treatment in India.
Kenya bid farewell to one of the preeminent figures in the country's politics. Raila Odinga was known for his role on opposition benches, power-sharing agreements, and concerted efforts to calm post-election tensions in the East African country.
One of the greatest lessons he taught us was this: in the noble task of statecraft and nation building, there is room for all of us, competitors and collaborators, rivals and allies, bound together by one higher purpose, the greater good of our republic.
For his family, though, this was a somber moment as they mourned the husband and the father who was fond of his family.
One thing that I know that Raila stood for, and he keep on repeating, is that we need peace in our nation, we need peace in our homes.
I watched him at his best. I watched him fall and rise again, each time with grace, forgiveness, and hope.
Scores of Kenyans gathered at Nyanya National Stadium to pay their final respect to the veteran leader. The former Prime Minister will be buried at his Opoda farm home in Sea Account on Sunday. Kyle Kumalo, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Madagascar's new military ruler, Colonel Michael Randrianarina, has been sworn in as president. The swearing-in ceremony comes after the Constitutional Court upheld the impeachment vote of former President Andry Rajoelina on Tuesday. The swearing-in of the new leader is followed by news of Rajoelina, who fled the country earlier in the week. However, the decision has been criticized by the African Union, the United Nations and SADC.
Madagascar's military leader, Colonel Michael Randrianarina, was sworn in as president following days after taking control of the island nation in the wake of youth-led protests that forced out his predecessor, Andry Rajoelina.
We place good governance, a culture of transparency, accountability, efficiency, and the principle of zero tolerance at the center of our actions.
The African Union and the United Nations have condemned the coup, with UN spokesperson Stefan Dujarric calling for the return to constitutional order.
The Secretary General condemns the unconstitutional change of government power in Madagascar and calls for the return to constitutional order and the rule of law. He takes note of the decision taken by the Peace and Security Committee of the African Union to immediately suspend the country from participation in all activities of the African Union.
Dr. Frank Legaba, senior lecturer and political analyst at Wits School of Governance, says that the military's intervention has further complicated the situation, with AU's recent suspension risking isolation of Madagascar's new leadership.
If you don't manage the transition very well, you run a risk of losing investors, you run a risk of worsening, deteriorating the situation, of rebuilding the country and all of that.
Bonolo Maribe, SABC News.
And now here is a look at your key market indicators as recorded at 7:25 tonight. Netball South Africa and its suspended president, Cecilia Molokwane, are on a collusion course. The federation has distanced itself from a media briefing held by Molokwane in Polokwane on Thursday, stating that the press conference was not sanctioned by Netball South Africa. Molokwane, who was suspended by World Netball pending an investigation into allegations of financial mismanagement and professional misconduct, said she was resuming her duties as president. She resigned as director of World Netball Board and said it therefore had no power to keep her on suspension. However, Netball South Africa says that the federation remains a member in good standing with World Netball and Molokwane remains suspended. Netball South Africa and all its stakeholders would be severely affected should World Netball suspend the federation. And that is how we wrap up this evening. Thank you for tuning in to Prime News on SABC3. As we head into the weekend, we remind you to stay ahead of the game. Until next time, from myself, Becky, and the team, take care. We now sign off with details from our weather team. Enjoy.
Thank you very much and a very warm welcome to the weather desk. Time for us to look at those conditions over the country now. It is raining as we move into the interior of the northwest. We are talking scatter showers and thunder showers over Mahikeng stretching towards Rustenburg for tonight. Just isolated over Mpumalanga stretching into parts of Limpopo. It is going to be a cloudy day's move towards KwaZulu-Natal, but quite clear over Cape Town for tonight. For tomorrow, we're still expecting a band of showers and thunder showers over most of the central parts of the country. It is scattered over the northwest, stretching into Free State, parts of Gauteng, Mpumalanga, and also KwaZulu-Natal. Isolated as we move into Limpopo and also as we move toward the southern parts of the Western Cape. We are talking George and surrounding areas for tomorrow. Now, looking at our warnings for tonight, we're expecting a level 1 warning of some damaging winds as we move towards the coast over KwaZulu-Natal, which will make it difficult to navigate at sea for tonight. And also for tomorrow, we're still expecting that level 1 warning of damaging winds. But as we move into the interior, remember we had that band of showers and thunder showers scattered over the central parts of the country. The same area, we have that level 2 warning of severe thunderstorm. Do remember that severe thunderstorms can be accompanied by a large amount of small hail, heavy downpours which can lead to localized flooding in places, and also possibilities of strong damaging winds and lightning over those areas for tomorrow. So please, let's be careful over those areas. Overnight temperatures, it is going to be a cool night over Limpopo, stretching into Gauteng, Northwest, and also Free State. Cold conditions as we move towards parts of the Northern Cape, especially over Calvinia and also over Sandland, where Sandland will be down to 413 will be a minimum over the mother city for tonight. For tomorrow, it is quite a warm day. We're seeing the high of 30, Durban at 28. Also expecting a warm day over the central parts of the country with those scatter showers and thunder showers for tomorrow. The mother city expecting a cool day tomorrow with a high of 20. That's all the weather I have for you. Stay tuned.